Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into something kind of wild? Guerrilla marketing.
It's definitely not your average marketing playbook.
It's about making a statement, but not in the boring, same old way.
Yeah, you got to be different, right? Stand out. Think outside the box.
Exactly. So today we're diving deep into this whole guerrilla marketing thing. We've got this awesome blog post from UltaHost. What is guerrilla marketing? How is it used? It's really cool. They describe it as low investment, high impact.
Which is so true. You don't need a huge budget to be effective.
You know, it kind of reminds me of Magician. They use misdirection to totally capture your attention.
That's a great analogy. It's all about surprise and doing the unexpected.
Okay, so what makes a guerrilla marketing campaign, actually a guerrilla marketing campaign?
Well, there are a few things. The UltaHost blog points out some key characteristics, like using unconventional tactics, keeping the budget low, really engaging your audience, and using technology in a smart way.
So not just throwing up a billboard and calling it a day.
No, definitely not. It's got to be more creative than that. Imagine a bus stop that's also a giant playable piano.
Whoa, that'd be so cool. You'd have to stop and play.
Exactly. And then people would share it on social media and boom, you've got a viral campaign.
See, that's the thing. It's not just about the initial impact. It's about people talking about it, sharing it.
Word of mouth is like gold in marketing. And that's one of the beauties of guerrilla marketing. It's practically built for going viral.
It's like the little engine that could. You're outsmarting the big guys with creativity.
And don't forget about technology. It adds a whole other dimension to guerrilla marketing. Think augmented reality experiences or interactive social media challenges.
It's like taking classic guerrilla marketing and giving it a digital upgrade.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about what it is and the key characteristics. Now let's talk about the different types of guerrilla marketing.
All right, lay it on me. What kind of stuff are we talking about?
The UltaHost blog breaks it down into three main categories: ambient marketing, street marketing, and experiential marketing.
Ambient, street, and experiential. Okay, I'm following. But what makes each one special?
Well, ambient marketing is all about using everyday objects and spaces in unexpected ways. Remember that bus stop piano?
Oh, right. It's about turning ordinary things into marketing opportunities.
Exactly. And then there's street marketing, which is all about taking your message directly to the streets, interacting with people face to face.
So things like flash mobs or those free sample giveaways.
Yeah, those are great examples. And lastly, we have experiential marketing. This is all about creating immersive experiences that really allow people to connect with a brand on a deeper level.
So things like pop-up shops or interactive installations.
Yes, it's about creating memorable experiences that people will want to talk about and share.
Okay, so we've covered a lot about what guerrilla marketing is. But why should a company use it? What's the benefit?
Great question. The UltaHost blog points out three major benefits. It's cost-effective, it can go viral, and it creates a memorable impact.
Okay, let's break those down. First up, cost-effectiveness. How does guerrilla marketing save money compared to, traditional advertising?
Well, you don't need to spend a fortune on things like TV commercials or billboards. You're using creativity and ingenuity to make a big impact with a smaller budget.
It's like finding a shortcut to reach your destination without paying those expensive tolls.
Exactly. And because guerrilla marketing campaigns are often so unique and engaging, they have this amazing potential to go viral.
That's the dream, right? To have your campaign take off on social media.
And the last big benefit is the memorable impact. Guerrilla marketing aims to create experiences that stick with people long after they've seen them.
So it's not like a fleeting impression. It's something that actually stays with you.
You got it. Okay, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? There are some challenges too.
Right, there always are. What are the potential downsides to guerrilla marketing?
Well, the UltaHost blog mentions three main challenges: unpredictable outcomes, potential legal and ethical issues, and limited control once your campaign is out there.
Okay, let's tackle those one by one. First, unpredictable outcomes. It seems like with guerrilla marketing, you're kind of taking a leap of faith, right?
It can definitely feel that way. You're putting something out there and hoping people respond positively, but that doesn't mean you can't minimize the risk.
So how do you do that? How do you make sure your campaign doesn't backfire?
Careful planning and research are key. You really need to understand your target audience and the location or platform you're using.
So it's kind of like running simulations before you launch the actual campaign.
Exactly. You want to anticipate as many variables as possible.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about the potential legal and ethical issues? Guerrilla marketing can be kind of edgy, right?
It can be, and that's why it's so important to be aware of the laws and regulations in your area. Some tactics might require permits, for example.
Right. You don't want to get in trouble with the law while trying to be creative.
Definitely not. And beyond the legal stuff, you need to think about the ethical side, too. Will your campaign disrupt public order? Could it cause harm or damage property?
Okay, so it's like having a moral compass to guide your decisions.
Exactly. You want to grab attention, but not at the expense of others.
Right. Makes sense. And the last challenge, limited control. Once a guerrilla marketing campaign is out there, it's kind of like a wild animal, right? You can't really control where it goes.
It can definitely feel that way, but there are things you can do to, like, steer the conversation.
Oh, like what? How do you keep things from going completely off the rails?
Social media monitoring is huge. You got to keep an eye on how people are reacting to your campaign and be ready to respond if things start going south.
So it's like having your finger on the pulse of public opinion, ready to adapt as needed.
Yep. You got to be prepared for anything.
Okay, so we've talked about the benefits, the challenges. Now let's compare guerrilla marketing to its, more straight-laced cousin, traditional marketing. What are the key differences?
Well, the UltaHost blog has this great chart that really lays it all out. But one of the biggest differences is in their overall philosophies. Traditional marketing is all about consistency and broad reach over time. It's very structured.
It's like a steady drumbeat, keeping the rhythm going.
Exactly. But guerrilla marketing, on the other hand, is all about disruption and surprise.
Like a burst of fireworks that grabs your attention.
Perfect analogy. And another big difference is the budget. Traditional marketing can get really expensive.
Especially if you're talking about things like TV commercials or huge billboards.
Exactly. But guerrilla marketing prioritizes resourcefulness. It's about getting the most out of what you have. But, it's not like you have to choose one or the other.
Oh, you mean you can use both together?
Absolutely. They can actually complement each other really well.
It's like having different tools in your marketing toolbox and knowing when to use each one.
Exactly. You can create a more comprehensive strategy by combining traditional and guerrilla tactics.
Okay, so let's say we're ready to launch our own guerrilla marketing campaign. Where do we even begin?
Well, the UltaHost blog lays out some key steps. The first one is probably the most important. You got to know your target audience.
Right, you can't just throw a message out there and hope it lands with the right people.
Exactly. You need to understand their demographics, their interests, their needs.
So it's like creating a detailed profile of the person you're trying to reach.
And once you know who you're targeting, you can start brainstorming those creative ideas that will grab their attention.
The fun part. But then, how do you choose the right idea? Like, there must be a ton of options.
There are. But that's where considering your location or platform comes in. Where will your target audience be most receptive to your message? Is it a busy street corner, a social media platform, a local event?
So it's like choosing the right stage for your marketing performance.
And then, of course, there's the budget. Guerrilla marketing can be cost-effective, but you still need to plan how you're going to spend your money.
Right. You got to be smart about it.
And lastly, but certainly not least, you got to figure out how you're going to measure your results. How will you know if your campaign was successful?
So it's not enough to just put the campaign out there and hope for the best. You need to track your progress and see what's working.
Data is key. It can tell you what resonated with your audience and what you can improve for next time. It's amazing how tech is changing the way brands talk to people. But you know what? I think human connection will always be at the heart of guerrilla marketing.
Totally. It's about appealing to those basic instincts. Curiosity, excitement, the urge to share stuff with friends.
Exactly. That's why it works so well for word-of-mouth marketing. When people see something surprising and fun, they can't help but tell their friends.
Like it's a story they want to be a part of.
Right. They become walking, talking advertisements for the brand, spreading the word naturally.
Which is super valuable these days when people are bombarded with ads everywhere they look.
It's way more powerful than some random online review.
Right, because it's coming from someone you trust.
Exactly. It's about authenticity.
Okay, so we've established that guerrilla marketing can be really effective. But let's talk about the how-tos. How do you actually pull off a successful campaign? The UltaHost blog outlines some steps. What are the most important things to keep in mind?
First things first, you gotta know what you're trying to achieve. What are your goals for this campaign?
It's like setting a destination before you start a road trip. You need a clear idea of where you're going.
Right. Do you want to raise brand awareness? Drive traffic to your website? Generate leads for your sales team?
Okay, so once you know your goals, What's next?
Then you got to figure out who you're talking to. Who's your target audience? What do they care about? What are their needs?
So like doing your research before you launch a mission.
Exactly. You got to make sure your message hits the right people at the right time.
Okay, so you've got your goals, you know your audience. Now comes the fun part, brainstorming those killer creative ideas.
Definitely the fun part. This is where you let loose and think outside the box.
It's like no idea is too crazy.
Pretty much. Sometimes the craziest ideas end up being the best.
It's about embracing that childlike wonder.
Right. Don't be afraid to get inspiration from anywhere. Art, music, even everyday stuff.
So you're always on the lookout for those little sparks of inspiration.
Exactly. Once you've got some ideas brewing, you got to evaluate them. Will they connect with your audience? Are they actually doable? Do they fit with your brand?
So it's not just about being shocking or outrageous. It's got to be strategic too.
Exactly. Once you've nailed down your idea, it's time to start planning the logistics.
Time to get down to business. What are some of the key things to consider?
Well, you need to think about timing. When's the best time to launch your campaign? And location. Where will it take place? Do you need any permits? How will you promote it?
It's like piecing together a puzzle, making sure all the parts fit.
And of course, you need to factor in your budget. How much can you realistically spend? How can you get the most out of your money?
Guerrilla marketing is all about stretching those dollars.
Right. And let's not forget about measuring your results. How will you track the success of your campaign? What metrics will you use?
So it's not enough to just launch it and hope for the best. You need to keep an eye on how things are going.
Data is your friend. It can tell you what worked and what didn't.
Okay, so we've talked about setting goals, knowing your audience, brainstorming ideas, and even planning the logistics. It's a lot to think about.
It is. Guerrilla marketing takes effort, but the payoff can be huge. When it's done right, it can create a buzz that lasts for a long time.
Like throwing a pebble into a pond and watching the ripples spread out.
Exactly. As we move on to the next part of our deep dive, we'll explore some of the exciting new trends shaping the future of guerrilla marketing.
It feels like we're entering this whole new world of marketing, where the lines between like the real world and the digital world are getting super blurry.
Yeah, it's wild. And guerrilla marketers are right there in the mix, figuring out how to use these new trends to their advantage.
But it's not just about chasing the latest tech, right? It's about understanding the core principles of guerrilla marketing and how they can be applied in like this ever-changing landscape.
You hit the nail on the head. Surprise, creativity, genuine engagement. Those are the foundations, and they'll always be relevant.
It's like those principles are the compass, and the technology is just the vehicle.
I love that analogy. And speaking of vehicles, one of the most exciting trends we're seeing is this fusion of real-world and digital experiences. Augmented reality is a prime example.
Right. Like you could be walking down the street and suddenly your phone is showing you this whole other layer of information or interaction. It's kind of like magic.
It is, and it can be used to create really personalized brand experiences. Imagine walking past your favorite store and getting a message on your phone about a special deal just for you.
It's like the marketing messages are becoming smarter, more tailored to what we actually want.
Exactly. And with AI getting more and more advanced, I think we're only going to see more of that hyper-personalization in the future.
It's kind of freaky, but also super cool.
It definitely raises some questions like about data privacy and all that, but I think if it's done right, it could be really beneficial for both consumers and brands.
It's a powerful tool. It all comes down to using it responsibly.
Agreed. But beyond the tech stuff, I also think authenticity is going to be huge in the future of guerrilla marketing.
Like people can spot a fake from a mile away. They want brands to be real, to stand for something.
Exactly. And that's where guerrilla marketing can shine because it's all about connecting with people on a deeper level.
It's about tapping into those emotions and inspiring people to take action.
Right. It's about making a difference.
So basically, the future of guerrilla marketing is all about combining creativity, technology, and a genuine desire to connect with people in a meaningful way.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, this has been a wild ride. We've explored so much about guerrilla marketing today, from its crazy tactics to its potential to change the world.
It's been a blast. Hopefully everyone listening is feeling inspired to unleash their own inner guerrilla marketer.
If there's one thing we want you to take away from this deep dive, it's that guerrilla marketing is all about pushing boundaries and thinking differently. Don't be afraid to try something new, to take a risk, and to have fun with it.
Couldn't agree more.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into something awesome.